pay off his handlers. I want to read to you the Flynn family statement that recently was put forward. It's incredibly courageous. The bought-off lamestream fake media will never touch this, but you need to hear it. The profound injustice perpetrated by the continuous persecution of our brother, and it is persecution, General Michael Flynn, is a crime of historic proportion in America and represents the gravest of dangers to every citizen's individual civil rights and liberties under the U.S. Constitution. There is no retreat from the shameful bias dripping from the unsigned majority opinion issued by the D.C. Court of Appeals. When the D.C. Court of Appeals said, okay, this goes back to Sullivan to make the final decision, there's a majority opinion and a minority opinion. The minority opinion was, there were two judges, Henderson and Rao, that absolutely went after the other judges who said, no, this should go back to Sullivan. The majority opinion is usually written by a judge to say, okay, this is the rest of us, this is how we felt, and they put their name on it. No judge would put their name on it. What does that mean? According to the prosecutors I know and spoke to, that means that these judges were like, I don't want my name on this decision, okay? This is so, we're covering for this Sullivan guy, this judge. We none of us want our name on this, so let's have our law clerks write it up. We'll give them input. They'll write it up. None of our names go on it. And that's how off the charts this was. Okay, all right. The Flynn family goes on, and no longer can District Court Judge Emmett Sullivan hide behind his gavel, considering he hired outside counsel hostile to General Flynn. That would be this Judge Gleason, friend of the court. Their political prejudices against our brother, and by extension, our family, have been brought to light for the entire country and world to see. The judges have turned their backs on fairness and equal justice for all in defiance of their oath, and in so doing, sullied the integrity of jurisprudence in America. There is no going back. Judge Karen Henderson's dissenting opinion lays it out precisely. Here's what Judge Henderson said, quote, "The appearance of impartiality required of all federal judges has been compromised beyond repair," end quote. Judge Naomi Rao, in her dissent, makes it also crystal clear that General Flynn continues being treated unjustly. Here's what Judge Rao said, quote, "The majority opinion ducks our obligation and leaves Flynn to twist in the wind while the district court pursues a prosecution without a prosecutor," end quote. General Flynn is a political prisoner without liberty or freedom. Our family thanks God for honest Department of Justice attorneys who had the courage to seek truth and, once discovered, stood up for the rule of law alongside General Flynn's guardian angel of American justice, Attorney Sidney Powell. These last 4 years have been our family's battle for our lives. We fight on. We fight for America so we can all breathe the fresh air of liberty that generations of men and women have fought and died for. We know we are not alone in the battle against deep levels of corruption unfolding before our eyes. To the millions of patriots who continue reaching out with support, generosity, kindness, and prayer, we are forever grateful. This travesty of justice must end. It must end now. The Flynn family. You won't hear that through the bought-off lamestream fake media. But the MO, look, they still haven't produced the original 302 form. The 302 forms are the form that the FBI fills out after they interview someone. They have 5 days to turn it in. That original 302 form is still missing. But in General Flynn's file, there are 4 others that were all edited by Strzok, by Page, and by McCabe. Edited to make it look like he lied when he did not lie. The 2 guys who interviewed him, Strzok and Patenka, when they were initially asked after they interviewed him, did General Flynn lie? They said no. I think they said he was, quote, of sure demeanor, end quote. They hid exculpatory evidence, evidence that showed he was innocent. They surveilled him illegally. How do we know that? Because when acting director of National Intelligence, Rick Grinnell, opened up the transcripts of that phone call between the Russian ambassador and General Flynn in the transition period, which he had every legal right to speak to, and every incoming administration has done that, the transcript showed that General Flynn did not talk to Kislyak, the Russian ambassador, about removing sanctions. In fact, Kislyak brought it up to General Flynn, but General Flynn didn't bite on it. But when Rick Grinnell released those transcripts of those phone calls after years' time, many years' time, Rick Grinnell said the following: the transcripts and how those transcripts were obtained, in other words, the surveillance, now listen, were not the work product of the intelligence agencies, of the intelligence community. The intelligence community consists of 17 entities: FBI, NSA, CIA, DIA, Treasury Department, State Department, the different branches of the military. So if it wasn't the work product of the entire intelligence community, what was Rick Grinnell saying? That it was the work product of illegal surveillance done by Obama and Brennan and Clapper and Comey, just to name a few. It's what we've been telling you since General Flynn and General McInerney came on the Operation Freedom radio show on March 19, 2017 with the support of Admiral Ace Lyons, and spoke about the illegal surveillance platform that Obama, Brennan, Clapper, Comey, and actually Mueller was involved and had commandeered. A platform called the Hammer that was outside of the use of the intelligence community. So, when the Department of Justice dropped the charges against General Flynn, it was because the forms had been edited and altered to make it look like he lied when in fact he told the truth. It was because they illegally surveilled him. It was because they hid exculpatory evidence that showed his innocence. But they have a track record of this. Let me give you a couple other examples. And this just came out recently. Carter Page's FISA-related Woods file documents disappear. When the FBI verifies information in a FISA application for surveillance, they have to create something called a Woods file. It's a documentation file that shows that, wait a minute, it corroborates what we're putting in this FISA application that's going to these FISA judges. The original Woods file, the documentation file, on former campaign advisor Carter Page went missing more than 2 years ago. It's kind of probably in the same spot General Flynn's original 302 is, huh? You think? Maybe. And according to sources, those documents had to be recreated by the FBI and recreated, in other words, fabricated. Here they go again. By the FBI and former special counsel Robert Mueller's team in 2018 from the foreign intelligence surveillance application used by the Bureau to obtain the warrant on Page. The Woods file procedure, which was overseen by FBI Supervisory Agent Joe Patenka and ultimately former FBI Assistant Director Peter Strzok, was used to verify the contents of the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act application that was used to obtain a warrant to spy on Page. So when all else fails, Well, documents, they go missing. I mean, you don't want the truth around, right? Not these guys that play for the deep state. Unless you just think that was a one-off. Did you hear about this in the bought-off lamestream fake media? Secret Service admits to destroying records. Here we go again. An alleged Biden breast-grabbing incident. Cassandra Fairbanks published a claim from an anonymous former Secret Service agent who said that they had to protect female agents from Joe Biden due to, quote, Weinstein-level stuff, end quote, referring to notable rapist and Democrat and globalist Harvey Weinstein. Quote, we had to cancel the vice president's Christmas get-together at the vice president's house because Biden would grope all our wives' and girlfriends' butts, end quote, said the former agent, adding, quote, he would mess with every single woman or teen. It was horrible, end quote. The agent also claimed Biden would walk around naked in the vice president residence. That's a bad visual. I have a bad retina. That just made it worse, actually, reading that. According to the source, a Secret Service agent once got suspended for a week in 2009 for shoving Biden after he cupped his girlfriend's breast while the couple was taking a photo with him. The situation got so heated, the source told Cassandra Fairbanks that others had to step in to prevent the agent from hitting the then vice president, end quote. This from Zero Hedge. Here's why you're reading this now. While the mainstream media, bought-off lamestream fake media as I call them, simply ignored the alleged breast-grabbing incident, Judicial Watch filed a Freedom of Information request on the issue. And they were told that the file on this incident was, destroyed. In other words, something happened, and the Secret Service just confirmed it. And then we had another issue raised this week through another Freedom of Information Act request through Judicial Watch. What was that? That the special counsel's office, that same special counsel's office that lost the Woods file on Carter Page, the same special counsel's office that was leading the investigation against General Flynn, the missing 302 and the hiding of exculpatory evidence and the covering up for the illegal surveillance that was done of his phone call. Yeah, that same special counsel's office, the one with Robert Mueller at the top, the guy who had difficulty almost remembering his name when he testified about a year ago. A little case of the Sicilian flu that we used to call it in Chicago. When perps would go on trial in Chicago. Yeah, you got it. So here we are. That same organization now, they tell us that looks like close to 31 phones of Mueller's team was wiped clean. Really? Wiped clean. 31 phones. Yeah, some of them, when they were wiped clean, people forgot their passwords like 10 times. So that it ended up getting wiped clean. That's called obstruction of justice. And let me give you a name of somebody who's in the soup on this, who's really been acting out in the bought-off lamestream fake media, because he's a consultant. This Andrew Weissman character. Sidney Powell has taken him apart before. He was involved in the Enron case. This guy has a track record of prosecutorial misconduct. And it's happening again. And it's going to be exposed again. I believe one of the people you're going to see that come to the forefront as far as the activities, whether it's with the Woods file or what was done with General Flynn or what was done with these phones. Oh, and by the way, there's this guy, Kevin Kleinsmith, who changed the FISA application, one of the FISA applications on Carter Page, which turn the exact opposite meaning of what the information was provided to him. This Kleinsmith was provided information that, in fact, Carter Page had been working with the CIA. Then he puts in the FISA application, well, there's no documentation he was working with the CIA, which changed the whole context of that FISA application. Who was his immediate supervisor? That's right, Andrew Weissman. I think Andrew Weissman is in trouble. Big trouble. And I can't think of a better person to be held accountable for the destruction of the rule of law in this country and the institution of the rule of persecution by the deep state. There's more coming. This is not done. And as frustrated as everyone is that things have not moved along quickly, we're all frustrated. Probably the most frustrated of all. Can you imagine being General Flynn, his family, and Sidney Powell have to watch this travesty of justice for 4 years? To have your life turned inside out? To be brought to bankruptcy? To have to sell your house? To have to live with this albatross hanging over your head? But it's all coming to an end. And we'll all be exposed. I truly believe that. And General Flynn will enter the battlefield, the political battlefield. And let me tell you something. I believe when that happens, it will be the greatest day for the freedom movement. It will be one of the greatest days for our country. And it could well be the greatest day for the future of our country. I thank you for joining me today. I hope you join us for the radio show every Sunday from 2 to 5 Eastern. You can listen live. It's free. DaveJanda.com. I hope you become a subscriber to DaveJanda.com. $9 a month, biggest bang for the buck in all the internet. Extra shows, extra content, extra access to all of our archives for not just the radio show, but our Insider Insight show where we bring someone forward from behind the curtain to speak about what's really going on, and my WTF analysis show, which is a video format show, which is also done every week. We have a Department of Advanced Research show hosted by Nick Ruiz. We have our healthcare policy series. We have our contributing editors section. All available at DaveJanda.com. I hope you support what we do to get the information out. Until next time, Dave Janda signing off. Dream big and dare to fail. Thank you for your time today.